All right, welcome to the March 2024 meeting of the Glendale Coin Club. How you doing, Don?
Excellent. How about yourself, sir?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for being here, all the way from Alaska, where it's still daytime.
Still daytime.
That's weird for me because it's night. It's what he was telling me. It's a little weird there, but I think we should probably start the meeting out with our call to order, which includes reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Ben, you want to lead us, Governor Ben?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible,
and justice for all. All right. Thank you very much for that. And again, thanks for coming out here tonight. I know traffic was pretty crazy, and I know there's some other stuff going on, so thanks for being here. Ben over here is selling raffle tickets, so make sure to get those, all that you want. And he's also selling 50-50 raffle tickets. You ready for the 50-50 drawing already? You want to do it right now? Sure. Everyone bought them that wants them?
I hope so.
Okay. Well, let's do it then, Ben.
So it's $50 total, so each person.
$50 total, 25 to the club, 25 to the winner. Sounds great.
Oh, do you want? Yeah, I'll run some raffle. Okay.
There's only one type of raffle.
Well, right now there's two.
50-50.
All right. Well, I guess Ben's not ready, so we'll go ahead and.
I'll take that.
All right. So just a reminder, dues have been due, so if you haven't taken care of that, we can still get that taken care of. We have I ordered a case of 2025 Red Books, the new issue of the Red Book, spiral bound. If you want a copy reserved for you, let me know. We got a sign-up sheet for those. They're going to be $12 each, which the retail price, I think, was $19.95, so it's a good deal if you want a Red Book. So let me know, or make sure you get signed up if you want a Red Book. Those should come in, they said middle of April, so they probably won't be here for our next meeting. They'll probably be here at the May meeting. That's the way it usually is for those. Sorry, $17.95 is the retail price on those. We're selling them for $12 each. I also have some A&A membership forms if you guys want to be members of the American Numismatic Association. You guys all should be already there, hopefully. Ben, you ready?
We're ready.
$25 each, 50-50.
The winner is 617-402.
402, your white ticket, 50-50 raffle.
That's actually very recent.
Because you didn't mix them up, I know.
I
You never
did.
do. Okay.
Yeah.
Gordon is the winner. Congratulations, Gordon.
Oh, sure. I'll take it. You want me to throw them away?
Throw that sticky one away. You know, the one we had in green on.
Ooh.
All
Shenanigans.
right.
All right. Thank you, Governor Ben, for the 50-50 drawing. But there's still plenty of time to buy raffle tickets. Our raffle tonight, we got a bunch of silver $50, which I know are not the most valuable prizes there, but we did that because the two top prizes, we got the 2023 American Liberty High Relief, which we bought at the Long Beach show from the Mint. Those are like, I think it was $82 from the Mint. There's what those go for. And then we have a Dos Pesos Gold in there as well, which I think retail of those is around $120 or give or take a few bucks because gold keeps going up and up and up. Yeah, I think Gordon says the melt value alone is about $105 on those now. So if you're feeling lucky, Ben has a big roll of tickets there. He'll sell them all to you. Thank you, Ben. I know John Duff's here tonight, our vice president, and he has a sign-up sheet for presentations.
Yeah, we don't have any programs signed up after today.
There's nothing for signed up after today.
Nope.
You sure? Okay. All right. So if you have an idea for a program or presentation and you want to give one to the club, I guess see me or John Duff. We'd love to have you do it. Or if you have ideas or presentations that you'd like to see, then let us know and maybe we can try to find it for you. Okay. Other than that, we got coin shows coming up. There's a coin show going on, I guess, right now. Buena Park Coin Show. Setup was tonight, and the show is tomorrow and Sunday. I would show up Saturday if I were you because a lot of people leave and are there Sunday. But March 9th and 10th, Buena Park, if you're interested in that. And then we also have our club show at the Van Nuys Masonic Lodge. There's cards over here if you need them, and then there's some at the front table. That is March 24th, which is the Sunday in Van Nuys at the Masonic Lodge. So we hope that all the club members can make it there. And I know we've had several people volunteer to help out with the registration. If you're willing to help out with that, we could always use an extra person or two to help give the people there a break here and there, just to help out, especially from about 10 o'clock until about 11:30ish, when the bigger crowd is there all trying to get in at once. It's always helpful to have more people at that front table. So if anyone's willing to help out with that, please let us know, and we'd love to have you there. Otherwise, I hope you can make it to the show to support our dealers and to support the club. So I think we have all the tables sold out. We might have one available, depending on, I got to confirm one more, but I think it's pretty much sold out. Mostly the same dealers we had at the last couple, and looking to have a decent show. So, and we got ads running on Facebook and postcards mailed out to our mailing list of about 350, 400 people or so. And but every one of you that shows up is one more people, so one more person. So hope to see you there. Other than that, anybody have any announcements? Anyone? None, huh? No guests tonight, no announcements. Ben's already done the 50-50 drawing. Ben, you want to do the early bird prize?
Why not?
You want to pick a red ticket for a silver Washington quarter? Sorry.
All right. 1964 Washington quarter. Winners 801 145.
145 is the winning ticket. 145. And it looks like Clarence is getting up for that one. Congratulations.
Rich,
Starting out good.
then you're buying.
All right. Is it Gringo saying he wants to do a presentation there in the chat? Well, let us know. Let us know. We'll, you don't have to be here. We can get you online if you want to do the presentation too. All right. I think we can probably jump into the presentation. Are you ready for it, Greg?
Wow.
I mean,
What about show and tell?
we'll do it after the presentation.
Oh, okay.
Why, do you want to do show and tell first?
No, what do I know?
I don't know.
No, I'm fine.
All right. Well, tonight we have Gregg Bercovitz doing our presentation. Greg's our one of our favorite speakers. He's done some amazing presentations for us. He's a fan of got a lot of big fans online that love his work as well. Absolutely. And likes to teach us all about paper money in particular. And let me get your presentation up here and I'll hand it off to you.
All right.
How about that? If I can remember how to do this. All right, let me share my screen here.
Write it down.
Let's get that. Okay, that's ready. Do that. Do that. Go there. Go there. Yep. That should be good right there. And then I'll make it to where you guys can all see this. Ben, can you confirm online that it looks good on full screen?
It's not fully covered yet.
All right. It should be. And then I got to hit this and this and
It's catching up. I think it'll be good. Probably.
That looks good.
Yep, that's good.
there you go.
All right.
Thank you, Greg.
Excellent. Okay, tonight we're gonna talk about obsolete notes. Oops.
I'll probably flip them.
I'll wait till it's done with the lights. Okay, let's see how do I do this? Oh, there we go. All right.
Just scrolling, yep.
Yeah, it's a general introduction to obsolete notes from 1782 to 1866. I'm going to go through a lot of verbiage or discussion first, and then there'll be a whole bunch of slides showing the notes. But to begin with, obsolete notes is a huge field of study and an even larger arena for note collectors. We have all heard of the saying, the tip of the iceberg. Well, tonight we're going to present a small ice cube of information covering this largest area of U.S. paper collecting. It is well known for all practical intent and purposes that there was no widely circulating federal currency available in the time between the Revolutionary War and the war between the states. What? Private banks, state chartered notes, railroads, insurance companies, municipalities, and local merchants filled this vacuum with an incredibly diverse non-federal governmental issue of notes. Simply put, obsolete notes are any type of issue in the United States that are no longer current. One common term used to describe U.S. obsoletes is broken banknotes. This term goes back to the days when banks failed, were common, and such failed banks were called broken, and their paper was broken banknotes. The term obsolete paper money is preferred over broken banknotes, as many of the banks did not fail, and because many of the issues were not banks, i.e. merchants or corporations. For the purpose tonight, we will include all state chartered and public-private notes, proof specimens, counterfeit notes, railroad notes, fair notes, insurance company notes, company scripts, city, county, parish, state issues, Mormon notes, territory notes, college currency, advertising notes, wildcat notes, merchant script, and miscellaneous items including military script. All right, what do I do now? Okay. We'll exclude colonial notes, continental notes, foreign notes, Confederate notes, all U.S. issued notes, novelties, checks, and other miscellaneous notes. To give you an idea of the relative size of this collecting field, just imagine that from the adoption of the U.S. Constitution in 1787 and through the Civil War, the fledgling American monetary scene was unique in history. There were more than 10,000 combinations of denominations and designs of circulating notes at one time. This figure only represents obsolete banknotes and only some of the other various categories mentioned above. State banks notes flourished in the 19th century. By the early 1860s, their banks had reached nearly 3,000 institutions. The Haxby catalog of obsolete banknotes alone is a 4-volume work containing 2,800 pages and over 720 individual bank listings, and covers 34 states, territories, District of Columbia, etc. I estimate there are 40 to 50,000 entries in this mammoth work alone. Timeline. I will quickly go through this to give you an idea of what was going on. 1620 colonial notes were issued. 1775, we have continental currency. 1781, the First Nations Bank was formed to support the Revolutionary War. Continental Congress chartered the Bank of North America in Philadelphia. Let's go to the next one. In 1785, the dollar, Continental Congress determined that the official monetary system would be based on the dollar, but the first coins representing the start of the system would not be struck for several years. 1791, First U.S. Bank. After adoption of the Constitution in 1789, Congress chartered the First Bank of the United States until 1811 and authorized it to issue paper banknotes to eliminate confusion and simplify trade. The bank served as the United States Treasury fiscal agent, thus performing the first central bank functions. 1792, the federal monetary system was established with the creation of the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia. The first coins were struck in 1793. The Second Bank of the United States was 1836. in 1836 banknotes with minimum regulation and proliferation of 1,600 local state chartered banks provide banks now issued paper money. State banknotes, which were over 30,000 varieties and colors and designs, were easily counterfeited. That, along with bank failures, caused confusion and circulation problems. 1861, the Civil War. On the brink of the Civil War, Congress authorized the U.S. Treasury to issue paper money for the first time in the form of non-interest-bearing notes called demand notes. 1863, the Banking Act of 1863 was enacted, which basically charged 10% on any notes being issued that were not governmental U.S. government issues. This was designed to stamp out obsolete currency. And right shortly after, in 1866, national banknotes issued by the government were initiated or were issued. Let's go to the next one. Types of notes. Banknotes, which are like today, we pay bear on demand. Post notes, which are different from demand notes because they are they're payable only a certain time in the future. It's kind of like these notes, the same form, but the time is for future payment. Then there were counterfeit notes. There are counterfeit notes, spurious notes, raised notes, altered notes. Those are all types of counterfeit notes. A counterfeit note is a copy of a genuine note, usually made to appear it's a direct copy. Spurious notes is not a genuine note, but does not closely resemble a genuine note of a real bank. Raised notes, you take a $10 note and you make it a $20 note. Altered notes are just a genuine note, which is changed to look like a different issuer or a different bank. Those are altered notes. There are savings banks notes, private bank notes, certificates of deposit, checks and drafts, and bills of exchange, which are interesting because it's a bill of exchange is intended for use. A bill of exchange is an unconditional order in writing addressed by one person to another, signed by the person giving it, requiring the person to whom it is addressed to pay on demand. It's kind of like an invoice, for lack of a better word. Okay, now let's do this. All right, what happened? Oh,
There it goes.
there we go. Okay. The special point of bank titles. One bank title has been given the nickname Forbidden Title and has only limited use in banknote history. That title is the Bank of the United States. This has generally been reserved for banks chartered by the Congress of the United States. Early banknotes. Let's see. By the year 1800, there were approximately 28 banks operating. In the late 1800s century, most banknotes were made locally under contract with printers who used hand-engraved copper plates. The rise of banknote engraving and printing firms awaited the next generation. Early bills gave the name and location of the bank, issuing bank, engraved in scripture letter, and a combination together with the value. They were simply designed, as you can see here. Sometimes there would be a small ornament, such as a ship or an animal, but nothing in the way of ornate vignettes. Serial numbers were generally handwritten, and signatures were also handwritten. Nearly all the bills were one-sided uniface and on flimsy paper. The notes from the time are generally very scarce, and some denominations reported have to be issued are only in collections today. You can see by these notes, they're very simple. These are actually complicated for the simple issued notes. This is 1872 to 1880, early note, early designs.
1780.
Yeah, 1782. 1772, excuse me. You can see they're relatively simple designs. Here's a couple earlier designs, 1782 to 1810. You're beginning to get a little bit more complicated, but you're still not seeing fancy vignettes yet. They're very, very simple notes. Now, what we're seeing here. Okay, in the annals of the American banknote, the name of Jacob Perkins looms as a genius. He had a wide range of accomplishments, including his patent stereotype steel plate and the cytographic or roll transfer press that revolutionized banknote engraving and printing. By 1803, Perkins had devised an engraving method, the stereotype steel plate method, for soft steel plates that were engraved first and then hardened to permit plates to be produced, to produce more impressions than the copper versions in wide use. He also devised a transfer press whereby engraving could be produced, known as cytographics. Later, he made cylinder dies, which also improved times. These four examples here. Hold on, the top one is an early version of the Perkins stereotype steel plate note on a Cheshire bank in New Hampshire. The ink date, the date was inked in, this note up here. Down here, the second one, and you really can't tell on it. Anyway, the face impressions of a $5 stereotype note, steel plate note. The note was built up by fitting blocks together with separate blocks for certain elements, such as the Massachusetts elements on the left and the border elements. He was one of the first. He would basically use, these would be block sections, and he would put these things together and build it like building blocks to make the note. And he was one of the earliest ones to actually use plate letters to indicate which actual design was used on the plate. Number three, the third one, and once again, it's very hard to tell here. It's a back impression of a stereotype steel plate note, check letter A. Now this one's interesting. The third one's interesting because to determine the authenticity of the suspected note, you could fold the note so that the folded edge would match with one of the splits here in the note. So it matched with folded would match one of the splits on the genuine note. If it was misaligned, the note was false. Although some paper could shrink or expand a little, but basically this was one of the first anti-counterfeiting devices that he used. You would fold the note and match them up with these separations. The bottom one is a Perkins stereotype steel plate note signed and issued in, I can't even pronounce this name, Passamakawakadaka, Passamaquddy, Bank of Eastport, Maine. And that's a mouthful. Oh. Anyway, in the annals of American bank, well, I've already Perkins. Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. All right, let's go on to the pictures now. Okay. All right, what we've got here, the top one is a state chartered bank. State chartered bank. The bottom one is a private charter, and it uses called a security strip to prevent counterfeiting. Here we have this was a counterfeit note. It was obviously a counterfeit. It was detected. Here is an example of a railroad fare note. After the Civil War, the only thing left standing in the South, just about, were railroads, and they were having a problem with currency because the old Confederate currency was being around. So the railroad started issuing fare notes, and this note, the fare notes, this is good for five people or five road rides on the railroad, and railroad, the prices were at a certain price, and they were actually using these fare notes for currency and trading in the South. A warrant, once again, is a warrant note, which is a warrant is basically an instrument that is used by a government or body to issue a payment for something. It's a warrant that says, we will pay you X amount of dollars for something. It's generally a state or government issue. This is, this one is, that warrant. This is simply an insurance company note, and you can see that they're getting into more complicated designs. This is a company script, which companies would issue their own paper money and pay their wages, and they would use them basically at the company stores. This is a parish note. Louisiana had issued tons of parish notes. With, once again, it was used for basic commerce, local commerce, to facilitate, business and trade. College currency. College currency is a separate little thing, and what that was basically, as the workforce moved from the farms to the cities, they had more business stores, and they had business colleges to teach people how to, among other things, handle money, count money and stuff. And they would print their own money, their own certain currencies that they would use in the colleges. And college currencies were very well printed. They were very, very well done. And there were, at the time, business colleges were very big from after the Civil War up through the beginning of the 1900s.
That's the example that we were just looking at. Right?
Yeah.
So they're a lot more ornate than some of those earlier buildings.
Exactly. Like you can see here, there's a whole, and they were very well done, and much more so than a lot of some of the other obsolete notes that were going. Now, here's advertising notes. Now, interesting thing about advertising notes, they didn't have billboards, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have all the great stuff that they did that we have today. What someone thought of was they first started coming out in newspapers, and they were designed to be cut out. But what eventually happened is they would print these up the same size as dollar bills, and as you can see, it looks like $100 bill because remember there were thousands and thousands of different obsolete notes. So they print these things up and they put them out on the desk in the general store. They toss them out on the street. They just leave them around, and people will walk around and see something down there, and oh my God, it looks like a dollar bill, and they pick them up. And that was basically the advertising notes were basically the beginning, of printed advertising outside of newspapers. And it became very big, but the biggest ones in it were usually the bottle ointment, hair grower, etc. people that went from town to town. These are some of the most interesting ones you can find. Come on. Merchant scripts. Merchant script came popular during the Civil War when coinage was being hoarded, and merchants started printing their own money so they could do business, which was right before they started using postage stamps for buying 5 and 10 cent things like cigars and newspapers. So there's a whole category of merchant scripts. All right, come on. More merchant scripts, and they even went down to 1 cent merchant scripts. They had 1 cent, 5 cents, 10 cents. Down here is another 10. It's a 10 cent merchant script. So merchant scripts could be single, uniface, or printed both sides, and they were all over the place, and there were just thousands of them. One of my favorite, miscellaneous scripts. This is a script from Sing Sing Prison, and it was used at the prison store. Okay, and it's fascinating in that this one I'm going to read right off of here. Sing Sing Prison. This is a fascinating piece of prison script with the slogan "Do good, make good," from the facility's heyday around the 1930s. What does it say there? We are
Unsure the meaning of the central monogram.
Oh.
MWL.
Yeah, the central meaning of that's MWL, which means Mutual Welfare League, was the one who put these out. The expression "sent up the river" refers to criminals.
Convicted in New York City.
Thank you. Convicted in New York City, being sent up the river to Sing Sing. These are few and far between, and to me, that's probably the most fascinating obsolete note, if you will. It's a Sing Sing money script that they used at the prison store.
Brings back memories. Huh?
Memories, relatives, friends, and the bottom one is it's a ticket for the 1893 World's Fair. There's a whole selection of these tickets for this particular World's Fair and the other ones, and they're about the size of an enlarged fractional currency, but they're once again extremely well done. And I'm sorry to say that my photographs don't do justice to any of the notes. This is an example of miscellaneous script. This is an example of a salesman's sample of banknote scripts that they would use for selling to various banks. Military payments, Union military scripts were issued by the federal government when the military went around and had operations or wars or whatever, and had to pay locals or townships or people for destruction or paying for anything. They used these military scripts, and each of the military scripts will, in its cover, explain which incident or which war or which battle it refers to. They're done on both sides, and they're quite interesting when you read the whole script of the obligation of the note. But they're Union military scripts. They're really quite interesting if you're history buffs.
How were they redeemed?
I would have to be honest with you, I can't remember, but it says in the on the note, I believe you could use it for bills, for taxes, for dues, etc. But there was a particular way it had to be redeemed.
Yeah, a lot of it was issued to pay the military. I know because they paid me in the damn things.
Yeah.
And what they were doing is trying to curb the black market, because in Saigon we could go buy booze and cigarettes from the PX and take them out on the economy and sell them for more money. We did the same thing in Germany. When I was there in 1968, cigarettes were 10 cents a pack. I take my ration card, I go buy 10 cartons of them for $10. I take them into town in Stuttgart, and I sell them for $1 a pack. I make much money. What the government did is they started paying all the GIs in military payment certificates. And so you can make some good money trading this stuff, but you had to be careful, because every once in a while, unannounced, they call
it back in,
issue new
ones.
And if you were on base at the time, then you go down and hand them, and you couldn't hand them more than 2 months worth of your wages. And they just confiscated anything over that. So you had to, whatever you were trading, you had to get it, trade it off, buy more contraband, okay, take it back and be ready to move, because they call it in, and then the next day it's all monopoly money and that you got left, and they are issuing new.
Yeah.
That's how they redeemed it.
But these were redeemed in a different way. They weren't like the military script that you were used to.
Yeah.
These were some of the first issuing items that the government used.
They were issued for basically the same purpose.
No, they weren't issued for basically the same purpose, because each one of these has a particular incident or whatever. All right.
What they wanted to do was to keep in the military, in case your unit gets overrun, the enemy gets all the money out of the till, and those certificates would be canceled. So that's how you kept the enemy from having your money is the same thing they did during World War II. They printed money for Hawaii and it said Hawaii on the back. And in case Hawaii got overrun, then all the money
Yeah.
that's scripted as Hawaii would be
The,
invalid.
the Hawaiian notes and the North African notes are a different note. Those are not military.
Yeah, but they,
No,
it was
no.
the same purpose.
I'm telling you that these notes are different from the ones that you were issued in
I
Vietnam.
understand that. It's
Okay.
funny how you're getting.
You know, um, now another type of note is political script notes, and basically on the surface they look like a regular note, but basically it was a political ad which would be supporting one view or another. And once again, they were the same size currency. They were tossed around, they were left around, etc. And there was a whole bunch of these notes. They were all, once again, it was, these notes were an easy way to, for advertising or for getting your point across. And they were all over the place when they were being used. Oh, post note obligation. That's a good one. A post note obligation is when I put out a note and it goes to somebody, and basically, as I said before, it's kind of like a demand, or it's almost an invoice type note that I present it to you and it says you are going to pay me a certain amount of money. And it's basically it's a post note obligation. It's called a post note obligation, but basically it's like an invoice, for lack of a better word. Come on, where'd you go? Savings bank obligation, same thing, but you can see that by this time the notes are getting very detailed. They're getting printed on the backs. There's the back designs are intricate. This here is a security overprint that will, on some notes, will be on the front and the back to once again prevent counterfeiting. Exchange notes obligations is another type. The 1800, 1830 notes, they're getting more. The notes themselves are getting more complicated. You're getting more designs, etc. By this time, by the 1800s, mid 1800s, they started making machines. Let's see, where is it? In the second decade of the 18th century, geometric lathe machines became popular as a device to engrave banknotes. Several other devices were created to mechanically multiply, reproduce lines, curves, and other elements. Its power for producing variety are equal only to the kaleidoscope. Of particular interest is the fact by turning a screw in it, a few turns, an entire new pattern could be produced like no other done before, just very much like a kaleidoscope. And that's how they were starting to get, like down here, it's very hard to tell, but these intricate design, lathe designs. This is an example of the security strips on the front, and it also comes on the back. Once again, security strips on a note. the 1830s to 1850s, you can see the notes are getting much more complicated, much more intense designs. Oh. And the 1850s and 1875s were basically the heyday of printing and obsolete notes, as you can tell from these two designs that they just jam-packed everything they could on these notes. And this, if I can remember, this is Lady Liberty, and she sits on the top of the Capitol building. But you can see that the notes are completely intense and complicated. More are here's a lot of the back designs are also getting more and more intense and more complicated. This is savings bank, state bank rather. Also, once again, the designs are getting a lot more complicated. Here's another state bank, New Brunswick. Now, isn't that shield on the back of the new pennies or something like that?
Similar, yeah.
Yeah, isn't it similar? Very similar design. This is a sample of the Lyman security notes, where a $5 is about a quarter of it, then the picture, the photograph or picture rather, starts taking over on a larger mark, and on the $1 it's just reversed. So that was another anti-counterfeiting device. Okay, now, do I have this one here? Do I have to read it out? I got to read. What? Oh, crap. Anyway, this is a poor design. And this is a treasury warrant. It's probably the most famous, if you will, or one of the larger treasury warrants issued. It was for the purchase of Alaska in 1868. With this warrant, the United States completed the purchase of almost 600,000 square miles of land that would become the 49th state, Alaska. In 1866, the Russian government had offered to sell the territory to the United States. Secretary of State William Seward, enthusiastic about the prospects of American expansion, negotiated the deal for the Americans. Edward de Stolchek, Russian minister to the United States, negotiated for the Russians. On March 30th, 1867, the two parties agreed that the United States would pay Russia $7.2 million, less than 2 cents an acre. This treasury warrant, issued by August 1st, 1868, by the Sub-Treasury Building, Wall Street, New York, transferred the payment from Russia to the Russian minister. Opponents of the Alaskan purchase called it Seward's Folly or Seward's Icebox, until 1896, when the Great Klondike Gold Strike convinced even the harshest critic that Alaska was a valued addition to American territory at less than 2 cents an acre. So that's probably the photograph of it is the best thing that was online.
Now we know why Don moved up there.
Yeah, he wished he got it for 2 cents an acre. Anyway, it's a huge category, area of collections, and it goes back and gives you flavors of history and times and places. You can go to different parts of the country, look at the different notes, and you can almost get a flavor of what was going on during the time. Without actually, the pictures weren't all that great, but the notes themselves, when you see them, they are rich, they are detailed, and they give you, like I said, an incredible understanding to what was going on at the time. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? Was that printed just for the occasion? Is that a one-off? Or were there?
You mean
used
the
to buy
warrant
other
itself? No, warrants, there was a standard design for warrants. I don't know if the warrant for Alaska was special or they did something. I don't believe they did because
things? Filled in the amount?
it's basically a check, for lack of a better word. It's a check, but it transferred the money. You know, yeah, it was it basically said, okay, here it is, and yeah, exactly, and then they get, you know, I want to cash my warrant, and and but what got me is 2 cents an acre. That's incredible.
And then people complaining about it.
Yeah, they were complaining. They called it, like I said, Seward's Folly and Seward's Icebox. You know, 'cause what are we going to do with something all the way up there? You know, near the, you know, it's all ice.
You said 600,000?
600,000 acres.
No, 600,000 square miles.
Square miles, excuse me, square miles. Yeah.
That's a lot of square.
It hasn't shrunk. It's still, you know, still the same size, but yeah, 2 cents an acre, I think, is incredible.
Might be less ice now. That's okay.
Maybe more, less, who knows? Who knows? Anyway, any questions? Now that I've confused everybody.
Does this represent part of your collection or all of your collection or wishful thinking? Some of each one.
Parts. And no, like I said,
Do you collect a lot of these notes?
I collect the ones that I like. Let's put it that way. I don't go out and search. I don't want to fill up a certain category and stuff like that. But yes, I do collect them, and I do have too many of them. But the ones I collect are more picturesque, flamboyant, not the early plain ones. Okay, because I like the artwork. I like, and when you sit down and think that all those, you know, the embellishments and all those notes, the designs, some guy carved those in steel, and you know, with little tiny, you know, and the American Banknote Company, which consolidated around 1850 or 1860, to this day, it, you know, was the printing giant for banknotes back then. They're you know, and when you think of the time, you think of it's 1850, 1860. You think, you know, the Civil War and stuff like that, and then you start looking at some of these notes, the beauty and the detailedness in these notes, and you're thinking they're still, you know, dealing with cannonballs. I mean, you know, musket loaders and stuff, and yet they're being able to print all this gorgeous stuff. To me,
Cool.
it's yours.
Thank you, sir. All right. Thanks again, Greg. Let's see. All right. Thank you again, Greg. Appreciate that. Always lots to learn there. And Greg, correct me if I'm wrong. When you go to dealers at coin shows that have a lot of this, it's not everything you shown there was terribly expensive, correct? Some of it can be like, you know, even under $100 for some.
Oh no, yeah, it like anything else, like in coins, condition is number one.
Yeah.
But number two, a lot of the issues that were there are what they call remainder notes, which were printed and never issued, or there were banks went belly up and had notes printed, and there were just stockpiles of these notes. But the rarer ones, obviously, the more rare they are, the more expensive they are. But you can find very good examples for very, $5, $10, $50, depending upon what the note is.
Great. Very good. Well, thank you again. Time to do some show and tell. If you didn't sign up on the show and tell list, don't worry. We'll ask for anybody else that didn't have a chance to sign up. But first up, we have Dennis Mack. And remember, if you want to show your items to the folks at home, we'll just hand them to me and I'll show them under the camera here, and they'll get to see them too.
Okay, I brought along 3 Roman coins. You guys don't get to see a lot of the ink and stuff here, but what's interesting about them is they're graded AU or choice AU. I try to find that on them. Sometimes you get out of the local cash register at the store. Our coins today get to be 50 years old. They're damn near flat. These are the Emperor Caracalla, Elagabalus, and Julian II, and they're from about year 218, and one of them is from the year 300 and something. But their condition on them is fantastic. So they'll be up here on the table so you guys can look at them.
Very good. I'll show them here real quick, and then sorry, I'm trying to get them under the camera. I know you guys in the room here can't see them on the screen, but you guys get to see them in person.
It's better on this.
We're getting them to look good here, for sure. There we go. It's being tricky on us tonight, but thank you very much.
Okay, doke.
Next up is Gregg Bercovitz.
Guess what? An
Ben,
obsolete
you want to
note.
do tickets for the show and tell? Get them one of the other colors, and
Aye.
that'd be great.
We're upside down.
Yep.
We're upside down.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, anyway, this is I'm backwards. It's a $2. It's a state of South Carolina obsolete note. There we go. It's an example of a obsolete note, choice uncirculated, and it's one of my favorites.
Beautiful.
That's that. And this, by the way, is a currency paperweight. When they would be counting stacks and stacks of money at a bank or something, they'd have 5, 10s, and they'd put that on top of it to hold it while they were doing the counting. And it's an antique. It's an original item. Banks had these all over the place when they were counting their stacks of money, because somebody opens the door, opens the window, and whoosh, the notes are blown all over the place. Because there we go. Anyway, and
Steel, right?
yeah, it's steel. It's it's some kind of steel. You can tell it's an original because occasionally you'll find remakes, but the back doesn't have this.
Yeah, it looks fine on the screen.
Yeah,
here, just not
yeah.
right there.
The back has a pebbled or rough surface, and a knockoff. Generally, the backs will be smooth and flat. Yeah, it's more like a lizard back, or it's a hammered back. Yeah, basically. Yeah. There you go.
Very cool. Thanks, Greg. John Duff. Thanks, man.
I brought one of my favorite obsolete notes called the Elvis note. And it's $100 from the Manual Labor Banking House, Philadelphia. It says September 10, 1838. But if you look real close right there, you'll see Elvis. This is a famous.
Yes, it
obsolete
is.
note.
That
I wrote an
that
article
is-
about it too.
it
Really
is.
cool.
It's
You
an
see
Elvis
this?
note, but it's printed in the.
It's called the
1800s.
Elvis note. It's called the Elvis note because of the figure right there. Looks just like Elvis.
Oh, okay.
I left a
Tough.
a magnifying glass.
So you can see the Elvis.
Yeah, can be.
Yeah, they can see it.
What does it look like on this?
Oh, you can see it. It looks perfect.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It just, the reason it doesn't look good in the room here is the cable. It's going from HDMI to the old thing. It can't have the signal in both places at once. It's either or. So it looks perfect on the screen here so I can see what we're showing to the people. But if I show it perfect to you guys back there, then I would have to turn the whole desk around or.
Yeah, obsolete people seek this one out. It's
Yeah, that's a real
Yeah,
cool
it is.
piece.
That's a famous obsolete.
I think I paid like $300 for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a very famous obsolete.
Very cool. Next up, Steve Sussman.
You probably could.
Now this projector in here is HDMI compatible. It's just that they have the cord here is the old style cord. If they run the plug for an HDMI, then we'd be in good shape here. And I've asked them a few times, but
I'm not HDMI.
Oh, if you're not HDMI.
that's fine.
Oh, no. I a couple of meetings ago, I did the Charles I and Joanna coins, and I kind of went through the whole set. So the son of Charles I is Philip II. So where the coin started being minted in 1536, Philip II took over in 1556 over to 1598, and when he was king of Spain was when Spain was like the most powerful, very powerful empire, and they ran Spain, Portugal, most of Belgium, Luxembourg, and northern France, and goes on and on. The Americas from Canada down to tip of South America, and they kind of dominated, and coinage was really taking off. So I ended up with a bunch of Philip II coins. This one is really beaten up, but this is a quartillo, so quarter real. Actually, good price for it because it's so beaten up. Of a green cone, so the first to say, and that was yeah. I mean, it's in bad shape. Then the half real is this is a Potosi. This one is, as far as I know, is the nicest Philip II half real in existence that's been graded. There's nothing like this thing.
What is that graded?
AU53.
And you can look at it, it just doesn't. Then this one is the real, and so this one is from Peru, XF40. And this one. So they have different styles when they're minted Mexico City versus Lima versus Potosi. And the 2 real, this is Potosi. This is an XF45, a Sayer A. On the second page of this, I have kind of a list of put on the table of these Sayers for the different mints during Philip II. This one is a 4 real. This is an AU53. So yeah, it's pretty wild. And then this one, I love this one. This is a Sayer mint a lot of coins. It's easy to get a hold of a Sayer B, but this is an AU55. And so it's 1589 to 92. So I guess this is the last period because the horses are standing upright, kind of, and so you can kind of tell the year by the way not the horse, is Castile and Leon. Leon, the lions are upright, look like horses, and yeah. So
Very cool collection here.
that's it.
And how long did it take you to put this one together? These
A couple of years.
couple of years. Wow.
It took a while to get, yeah.
Very nice.
This is,
Well, thank you very much. And then those up there. Next up's Phil Iverson.
Mike mentioned the Boyd Park coin show. I got some flyers. I'll put them on the table over there. People are gonna want to attend either today or tomorrow. Mike's gonna be there.
I'll be there tomorrow morning.
I'll be there tomorrow morning. Hopefully we'll have a good crowd. Last couple of shows have been kind of quiet. And I was digging around and I came across this nice looking copper Indian. On the back it says for the Boyd Park coin show. They were issued a number of years ago. This Mike could take a look at the date and see what those were, 1913 or something.
Of course, I can't get it. It was focusing right when I was pulling it away, too. Yeah. I think this was like one of the original $20 designs, wasn't it? That Indian?
Similar, yes,
One of the pattern coins, maybe, I believe. Yeah.
possibly, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a nice little item.
And
Also-
which one was this show for? It says it's 2013.
2013,
Yeah.
yeah,
That'd be 11 years ago.
yeah, sure.
Crazy.
I think you might have done another one, I don't know. I also had a little booklet issued by the Boyd Park. It was put in the dealer bag for the dealer that were there. Also have a nice pen that says Boyd Park going show on there, so I could just go ahead and make notes of all the things I want to buy at the auction tonight, so.
Phil, does that pen only work with that book?
Yeah, it's special.
Thanks again, Phil. Yeah, hopefully we'll see some of you guys tomorrow at the Buena Park show and then our show in Van Nuys Sunday the 24th. We got cards for those back there, and I got those up here as well. Anyone else have show and tell? I know Nick does probably. See him getting ready. Anyone else?
A tell them show.
We'll have Nick come on up then. Thanks, Nick. Yeah.
Hey guys, I have a few commemoratives. The first up is I brought in some of these before. This is the latest in the British Star Wars series. So we've got Chewbacca and here we go.
Cool. That's got King Charles on it too.
Yeah.
2024. These are 50 pence, right?
That's 20.
Oh, 50. Sounds
Okay.
yep.
That's- there you go. Yeah, that series, there were 4 coins issued over a period of like about a year and a half. And so I also got the new Harriet Tubman coin. So that's the $50. These are the uncirculated. I did order the proof set, but it's on back order. I think the designs were very nice.
Nice. Oh, gold. Nice. It's crazy how low mintage these modern commands can be sometimes. So
Oh yeah, I mean on
I
the
guess with the
gold,
premiums, yeah.
Yeah, they sell
Sure.
like 1,000.
Yeah.
It's almost nothing.
Pretty wild. Well, very nice, Nick. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Anyone else have a show and tell item to share tonight? Don't be shy. Ed, you have something?
Yeah.
All right, come on up. No rush.
Okay. Ready for my moment.
All right.
So a friend of mine
works in the shop, and he said he had a bunch of like 5 countermarked coins. He sent me a picture of one of them. He said, "Are you interested in it?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. You know, what do you need for it?" And then he showed me a few others that he had. And so I have 5 of them, but I'll just stick with this because put y'all to sleep.
What you got in your hand?
So what do you got in your hand, man? Which one? So this large set, 1849, and underneath the bun of her hair is in a rectangle an eagle above the number 180. Now the eagle, when you guys see it, it looks like the reverse of the eagle that's on the Seat of Liberty coinage, and I guess some of the bust hat. Yeah, the early bust hat. So of course, what do? What do? You go to the old trusty Brunk book, right? Everybody familiar with this book? Yeah, right. It's a counterstamp book. Yeah, that's it. I mean, my gosh, this is just the documented, right? Okay, that's just documented. So at PCBS, when people submit things, you probably all know this if you have submitted. If we don't find it in the book, it gets damaged, right? Because it's not in your PC, just needs it documented, at least in something. Well, I went online. When I went through here and I was like, well, what do I look it up under? 18, Eagle, whatever. And I finally found it on page 319. 319. And it's under Eagle in 18 Hallmark. Okay?
They make cards.
They do?
Hallmark.
Oh. And now there's no picture. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. There's no picture of it. But what it does say is, it says David Bowers has 3 examples of coins stamped with this small hallmark in his collection. It consists of an eagle perched on an arc with 18 below. Now, the 3 dates that are here, whether or not they're his or not, I imagine they are, or maybe it's a coincidence, it's just 3. But a large cent of 1822, a large cent of 1841, 1850. The only other thing I found that it might be something to do with the 18th regiment in the military, or some kind of military regiment. Now, I don't know else to go. I actually wrote an email to David Bowers today. Took a picture of the page. Don't know if he'll get back to me. I'm sure he's a little busy doing what he does. But
it's a nice countermark, though.
But we'll see, because so I'll follow up on it and just keep looking. But if anybody knows anything about it, once you see it, and that's it. And so, and if you want to just show like the page, it's right there.
Okay. Nick, what book is that again?
Oh, let's take a look.
It's called the Brunk. So it's called the Merchant. I'm sorry, I'm like breaking your fingers. Yeah. I'll let you do it. Sorry.
It's called Merchant
There's
and
a title
Privately
page.
Countermarked
There's a
Coins.
title page.
Yeah. Merchant and military.
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Gregory G. Brunk.
Well, I got to remember that.
Yeah. What you call the Brunk?
Merchant and Privately Countermarked Coins.
Yeah. Came out in 2003, so I'm sure there's been plenty of finds since.
What's the name again? One more time.
Brunk. And it's Merchant and Privately Countermarked Coins.
Okay.
Advertising on the world's smallest billboards.
Cool, right?
I got to get the book.
Great.
Got to get the book.
All right.
Very good.
So
Thanks for sharing
it'll be
those.
over here. And
All right. Any other show and tells? Didn't think there'd be any more. Before we go ahead and close up the YouTube portion and get on to the refreshments, we do have a couple of giveaways to do. If you recall, at the end of last meeting, we showed a few items. We have these 2 Canadian colorized dollars and a colorized Australian dollar. And then we got a couple colorized Canadian toonie coins. And these were sent in by one of our viewers, Alfred R., who lives in Canada, for us to use as giveaways. So we're going to go ahead and pick someone who left a comment on the last Coin Club meeting. So if you left a comment on that video, you're in for a chance to win these. We'll give these 3 out as one prize, and we'll give these 2 out as another prize. If you're not yet commented or in on those, you got about 1 minute to do so, as I try to open up a comment picker and get a link to that video. And I guess those of you guys, if you don't want to wait until we do this, because you're probably not going to be able to see it on that screen anyway, you guys can probably go ahead and start taking a look at the show and tell and the auction items and start having refreshments. But we'll go ahead and do this, and then we'll show a prize for next month and go from there. So let me just go ahead and try to figure out how to find my bookmarks on here. Bring up the comment picker. And then now I got to find a link to last month's video, which I think Gringo is putting in here for us all, but I got to go do that elsewhere because I can't copy and paste from there. No problem. Let me bring up our February meeting, I believe it's called. Get that. Get the link.
Not too shabby. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
And put the link in. And thanks again for everybody who left comments on the video. Appreciate that. Thanks everybody that watches at home. Go ahead and get the comments. There are a total of 20 comments. You guys won't be able to see the winners because I can't share my screen right now. But the winner of the $3 is Kyle Preston, who said, "Thank you, Glendale, for allowing us to join in." The winner of the Toonie coins is Thomas Tone. Thomas Toan. Toan. And he said Nito for his comment. All right. Well, thank you guys again for that. Congratulations. Now for next month, if you leave a comment on this month's video, we have another coin that was donated to the club to use as a giveaway. And this one's really cool. This one here is a 1858 8 real.
Oh, nice.
From Mexico. With a hole in it, but it's still a big chunk of silver. Check it out.
Yeah, it's been blessed.
It's been used, but it's got a lot of nice detail. So if you want a chance to win that coin, all you got to do is leave a comment on this video. And once it's a video, the in-chat live comments do not count towards that. So wait till it becomes a video. You got a month to do it. Thanks again for joining us at the meeting, and we'll see you next month. Thank you again.